She triggered a trap, and the human shielded her with his body, but it was worth every pain. The ruins were silent, broken stones swallowed by moss and alien vines, yet every step echoed like a drumbeat in their ears. Lyra's silver eyes flicked over the shattered corridor, her tall frame moving with a predator's grace. She was born of the Trell, a people whose long limbs and luminous skin seemed almost carved from crystal. Though hardened by battle and exile, her movements carried a strange elegance that contrasted sharply with the human trudging at her side. Marcus Graves was shorter, broader, his hands calloused from years of soldiering. His once black hair was streaked with gray at the edges, a map of every campaign carved across his scarred skin. He carried no illusions about why he was here. Lyra needed a guide into these ruins, and he had survived enough wars to know how to tread dangerous ground. Still, when she glanced at him, he caught the faintest ghost of trust behind her guarded expression. It was enough to keep him walking. The corridor narrowed into a stairwell, spiraling down into the earth. Faint glyphs shimmered on the walls, glowing faintly as Lyra's hand brushed them. "They still answer," she whispered, her voice like glass chimes. "You mean these things are active?" Marcus frowned. "Then we're walking through a minefield." She tilted her head. The Trell built their temples to test the worthy, not to kill them. He snorted. "Funny how tests and traps look the same when you're bleeding." Despite his grumbling, Marcus followed her deeper, his rifle slung across his back, his knife loose at his hip. They had been traveling together for 2 weeks now, long enough for him to recognize the fire in her, desperation wrapped in determination. Whatever lay hidden below, it wasn't treasure or glory. It was something she needed. The air grew colder. Dust danced in the pale light of their torches. They stepped into a vast chamber, its floor paved with squares of stone, each etched with ancient runes. Lyra's breath caught. The Path of Wills. Translation. Marcus asked. "Step wrong, and the temple punishes." "Great," he muttered, scanning the maze of tiles. Before he could stop her, Lyra set her foot on the first square. The rune glowed. The tile held. She smiled faintly and moved forward. Marcus clenched his teeth and followed, carefully matching her steps. The floor hummed faintly beneath his boots. Halfway across, Lyra hesitated. Her eyes darted over the runes, calculating the next safe step. She chose one, pressing forward. And the chamber screamed. A glyph ignited under her foot, flaring red. Panels slid open along the walls. With a shriek of stone, jagged spears of crystal shot outward. "Lyra!" Marcus lunged, without thinking. He caught her around the waist, shoving her down as he twisted his body to shield her. The spears raked across his back. Pain detonated through him. The crystals tore through armor, into flesh. His vision blurred white, then red, but he stayed over her, his body a shield. The trap ceased as suddenly as it began, the crystals retracting into the walls. Lyra gasped beneath him, her hands trembling as they pressed against his bloodied back. "Marcus, why?" "You fool!" He groaned, his face twisted in agony, but his voice steady. "Better me than you. If you're dead, this whole trip's over." Her silver eyes widened, shimmering with something he had never seen in her before, raw fear. They stumbled to the far side of the chamber. Marcus collapsed against the wall, sliding down until he was seated on the cold stone. Blood seeped through his shredded shirt. Lyra tore fabric from her cloak, hands deft despite their shaking. "Hold still." "Do I have a choice?" he hissed as she pressed the cloth against a wound. "You shouldn't have done that," she whispered. "Sure I should," he countered, forcing a grin. "Besides, I've been hurt worse." Her hands froze. "No one has ever put themselves between me and death. Marcus raised an eyebrow. Guess your people aren't much for heroics. Her voice cracked. They believe strength means never needing anyone else. She swallowed hard, focusing on binding his wounds. But you are stronger than any of them. Despite the pain, warmth flickered in his chest. They rested for hours, Lyra keeping silent vigil as Marcus fought through waves of pain. When at last he stirred, she offered him water, helping him drink. Still alive, he rasped. For now, she said softly, but there was relief in her eyes. They rose again, slower now, Marcus leaning on her shoulder. Together they pressed deeper, until at last they reached the inner sanctum. A pedestal stood in the center, cradling a crystalline heart that pulsed with light. Lyra's hands trembled as she approached. The heart of Trell. It holds the memory of my people. Without it, we are lost. Marcus gave a weak chuckle. Then I'd say it was worth every stab in the back. She turned sharply toward him. Don't say that. You nearly died because of me. Because of you? He shook his head. No. Because I decided you were worth it. Her throat tightened. She stepped closer, kneeling in front of him. Her cool hand brushed his bloodied cheek. You are a stubborn, reckless man, Marcus Graves. And you're welcome, he whispered. They didn't stay long. Lyra lifted the heart, its glow wrapping her in silver light. For a moment Marcus thought he saw her true self, not the hardened warrior, but a woman who carried the weight of an entire people on her shoulders. As they left the temple, she kept one arm firmly around him, steadying his steps. Her usual coldness had melted into fierce protectiveness. You gave me more than a chance today, she said quietly. You gave me a reason to believe in something beyond duty. Marcus smirked despite the pain. Glad I could be useful. She stopped, her gaze burning into his. Not useful. Vital. Before he could reply, she pressed her forehead gently to his, the ancient gesture of her people. From this day, my path is bound to yours. Whatever pain you carry, I will share it. His chest ached, not from wounds, but from the weight of her words. He had thought himself just a mercenary tagging along. But here, in the shadows of a forgotten world, he had become something more. And as they limped toward the light of the surface, Marcus realized every stab of pain had been worth it, because it meant Lyra was still walking beside him.